Hello, third graders. Today in science, we are going to start looking at the water cycle. Now, we looked at water conservation and how we can save water. Now we're going to learn about how water works and how it is cycled through the earth and then back to the sky, and then it rains back down. We're going to learn about the whole water cycle. First, we're going to watch a quick video on the water cycle, and then we're going to talk about some key words when we are talking about the water cycle.
Hello friends, and welcome to another new Happy Learning video. Today we will learn all about the water cycle. Earth, which is the planet we live on, is known as the blue planet because as much as 3/4 of the planet's surface is water. And water is so very important because without it there would be no life. Without it, these sweet little otters wouldn't exist. Or these playful bears. Nor this conceited bird. Or even us, the human beings. That is why we must look after it. We should conserve our water well. And most of all, we must maintain our rivers and oceans clean. Did you know water never stands still, but is in always constant movement, even though at times it doesn't seem like it? This water movement is what we call water cycle. Now, let's learn more about it. When the sun warms the water on the Earth's surface, it evaporates, converting itself into water vapor or steam. And it begins its incredible journey, flying into the sky, up towards the atmosphere. This first stage of its journey is known as evaporation. When the water converts in vapor, it rises towards the atmosphere, then cools down, transforming itself into clouds. This second stage of its journey is called condensation. Once the water has condensated and turned into a cloud, it continues its amazing journey by being blown by the wind, traveling from one place to another. Clouds are actually tiny little drops of water suspended in the air. But when the clouds grow, they collect more and more water. These water drops then crash into each other and become bigger drops of water. Then, at some point, they will end up falling to the ground in the form of rain or even snow. This stage of the water cycle is called precipitation. The water which falls to the ground, which precipitates in the form of either rain or snow, may land in rivers or even on the ground, to then seep through to subterranean currents of water. All this water must continue its long journey, covering vast amounts of distances until it finally reaches the sea. When it arrives at the big blue sea, it will once again begin the process. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. That is why it's called the water cycle, because it forms a never-ending circle. Isn't the water just so incredible? Well, that's it for now. Until the next video, and don't forget to subscribe to Happy Learning.
All right, so in the video, we learned a couple of words, and we're going to look into those a little bit deeper in our lesson today. So the words we're going to look at today are the words cycle, sun, water cycle, evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Now, first we're going to look at cycle, and I want you to think of what, maybe whenever you've heard the word cycle, maybe you've heard of bicycle. Now it's called a bicycle because it has two. Bi means two, and sickle means two rotating pieces. Okay, so cycle are things that go around continuously. We also, in our positive action, we've been learning about the positive action cycle and the negative action cycle. That's something when we have our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and it continues to go around. What other kind of cycles have you seen? Maybe you've seen the plant cycle. Starts with a seed, then it adds sunlight and soil, and then it grows, and then the seeds pollinate, and then it just keeps on going. Cycles are continuous. So the cycle here, we have a couple of options. We'll read through them together right now, and then we'll start placing them with the other ones. The sun heats up the water and turns it into vapor. The origin of energy for the water cycle, a repeated pattern, water that falls to the earth's surface in the form of snow, rain, or hail, water vapor in the air that gets cold and changes into liquid, the process by which water circulates between the ocean's atmosphere and land. The cycle is a repeating pattern. It is continuous, keeps going around and around and around. Now the sun is where all of the energy for the water cycle starts with. The sun heats up water from the air, turns it into condensation, and then precipitation falls down. Sorry about hair in my mouth. The water cycle. So the process by which water circulates, cycle, they sound similar, between the ocean's atmosphere and land. So think about directions. Oceans, atmosphere, and land. That makes the circle, the cycle. Evaporation is when water from the earth is taken up by heat, and the sun heats up the water, and it turns it into vapor. That means really, really tiny water droplets in the air. Did you know that there's water droplets in the air right now? If you have ever heard someone say, wow, the humidity is high today, that means that there are more water droplets than normal. If it feels humid, that means that there are a lot of water droplets in the air. That means that there was a lot of evaporation that happened. Condensation. Now you probably see this, and I have an example right here. I have a drink and there is water all on the outside. Now you can see my drink. This is not water. So the reason that water is on the outside is because water vapor, it's in the air right now. Water vapor turns into liquid water when temperature changes. Okay, so this is really cold and it's warmer out here. So all the water outside stuck to the outside, and it caused water droplets. The water droplets isn't because water from the inside is getting out, it's because water from the outside is sticking to the outside of the cold drink. That's why you see it on cold drinks. But if you just had a plain temperature water and you set it out, it would not do the same thing. So water vapor in the air that gets cold and changes into liquid. And it's when it gets cold, not when it gets hot. Maybe in your car, you've seen this too, and it's really cold outside, and then you crank up the heat really, really high, and then your windows fog up. Maybe you've seen that before. That's also condensation. And precipitation. We think of precipitation when we think of rain, snow, or hail. Anything that comes from the sky. After you complete this and put them into their correct categories, you are done for science today, and we will keep looking at water in our next lesson.